Hey.
Welcome.
Back.
Here we are.
What a day. Good day.
It was a good day.
It's a good day. It is a good day. We're not recording at like 10 p.m. like we were last time.
No.
Just a little rough. It's so funny though, because I feel sleepier now than I did when we actually recorded later.
I think that was like pure adrenaline.
I was going to say, oh yeah.
I was straight delusional.
Oh yeah, I was like when you get to like overtired phase, that's kind of fun though.
I like
getting overtired. Yeah.
I
You're just like laughing at everything.
Thank you for still being here after our last episode. I was afraid that some people were going to be like, oh, no.
Cancel.
Delete. And now we're recording this before the elections happen, so we don't know.
Even dropped yet.
But now, at this point, we know.
Well, no.
And
that's
you know what all I
crazy.
know? Is that God is still in control, no matter what.
Amen.
But yeah, I'm excited to have a kind of like a lighthearted, let's get motivated.
Yes.
Let's
talk
just
about
motivation and yap.
Motivation and yap.
Hurricane and yap.
Like a little
motivation
like
and yap.
A little push you need.
Because we're getting to the end of the race of 2024.
2024.
And
which is actually insane.
No,
That's November.
It's crazy. I literally closed my eyes when it was September, and I opened my eyes, and it's November. Like, October did not happen.
No, October was a blur.
Because of the storms.
That's
I
so
feel like
true.
for me.
Yeah.
Like,
which is so rude, because it, like, took away the whole, like, fall spooky season.
No, it did, because we were saying that, like, even though one of the storms happened, like, late September, and then the next one was, like,
even know. I'm telling you, it was all, like,
it was, like, early October, but then, like, by the time, all of the cleanup and the post-math stuff took, over a week, so, like, we opened our eyes, and it was October 16th, and, like, the month was just gone.
It's so true.
So, but I'm happy to be here in November.
Yeah.
Also, happy Veterans Day. It's the 11th when this is dropping.
Yes.
So thank you to every person that has served for our country, given their life for our country. If you're a part of that, those families, if you're a military wife, if you're a military kid, like, thank you for your service as well. Because, man, that is a service.
Yeah.
that those wives and women and kids go through.
True. No, I know. And, like, I feel like I'm fortunate that, like, because, like, both my parents are veterans.
Oh my gosh, that's
my
right.
brother-in-law, they literally met in the military.
Oh my gosh,
I know.
that's
So I was
right.
like surrounded by like so many military experiences.
Thank you.
And I think you're welcome, guys. What can I say? No, my parents were well out of the military when they had me. But again, just even like seeing like Josh, like I just feel like we overlook it so much. Like I think, and you think also of like the military being like, oh, you're getting like shipped off to war, but I feel like it is just such like daily like sacrifices for like just our government and our country, like just all around us that we overlook. So anyways,
thank you to everyone.
Just a little shout out. Y'all are amazing.
You are, and our country would not be the great country that it is without people that are willing to fight for our freedom. So thank you.
Yes.
Just had to give it a little shout out.
Shout outs. Yeah.
High and low tides.
High and low tides.
Start me off on a high note.
Okay, high note. Oh, yeah. Okay, so my high note, I wanted to do a part 2 to my low tide of last episode.
But now it's a high tide.
Ooh, okay. You see the development there?
Yeah,
I know, like went from like low to high.
The wave is, it grew.
Oh my
you know
gosh,
what I mean?
Okay, wait, is that just going back down? I hope not.
Everything that goes up must come down.
Okay, whoa. Actually, I don't know. Wait, maybe if I share it, it'll just like speak it.
No, it's so good. You're a wave that never crashes.
Yes, it's like just a ongoing. Can you imagine like a reverse waterfall? Okay, so my low tide for last episode, my car wanted to.
That's right.
Kill itself.
Poor Gail.
Gail, like the battery or something was wrong, and I got stuck in the middle of the street, and like I had and then I used my parents' car because I was like, I don't know, it's safe or whatever. She's like giving me no issues since she was literally just having a temper tantrum that day, and that was crazy. She literally was just like, I'm done, like that, I'm good now. So yeah, that was just a little high tide that I haven't had any issues, and she has
she's a drama
over
queen.
it. She's very much a drama queen, but
it's water under the bridge now for Gail.
Oh, for sure. She was just like, sorry guys.
She needed
a little attention, to be honest. That whole horn thing, girl, you could have like just put on like a button on my like a light on my dash.
Yeah.
Very subtle, like, but no, she decided to let the whole neighborhood know that she was just like a little upset. She's so funny. I just love her. She's just my favorite.
We love Gail.
I literally would drive Gail for the rest of my life if I could. Like, I love her so much.
I love Gail. When I think of Mia, I think of that little blue car.
As you should. She is me and I am her.
That is, yes, you are connected. It's like, it's like Avatar and she's blue.
Yes.
Like, you're connected.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I've only seen the first Avatar and it was like forever ago.
Me
but
too.
Like you never saw the second one?
No, or the third one.
They have a third?
Isn't there? No, it's just the
no,
first one.
I think they're coming
water.
out with a third.
They are
soon.
Okay.
Which is so funny because they came out with the first one in like 1856 and then the new one like
I'm
last
assuming
year.
it's because of how long it takes to make those movies.
But that's what I'm saying. But they're releasing the third one like soon, like next year or something.
Was it a part 1, part 2 situation?
Oh, maybe they just like recorded it at the same time. You think?
I have no idea. I don't actually care about Avatar. I saw the first one. I just know that like through the little tail thingies they
2025.
connect.
Fire and ash. Oh,
yeah,
that's kind of
fire.
scary.
Because there was the water one.
Why is there like this little demon baby?
Because they're red for fire.
It's kind of scary.
Anyway,
next one.
I have a couple of high tides, but like they're kind of like they're like small, like cutesy.
No, but that's good because that's what makes it like it all just adds up.
Yeah. Okay, so first one is this shirt that I'm wearing.
Cute.
I love it. There's a CrossFit brand called Mayhem, and there's a gym. It's located out of Tennessee called CrossFit Mayhem. They're called like Mayhem Nation, and the guy that owns it is Rich Froning, and he used to be like the CrossFitter. Like he was Matt Fraser before Matt Fraser. He was the OG champion. I think he won like 4 times in a row. And then eventually Matt came around and he won 5 times in a row. But Rich Froning has still been like competing in the in team competitions in CrossFit. But anyway, he's a big Christian, very outspoken. Love that about him. I've always loved that about him.
Right.
He's the owner of this gym. They also do like programming and like coach some of the the biggest athletes in the CrossFit space. He also owns like a bison farm and has like Froning. It's called Froning Farms, and like they sell the little meat sticks and stuff, which I thought was just
their bison.
Yeah.
Oh, rip. Okay.
It's a farm.
Sorry, I don't know why that got me off guard. Like it makes sense now. But like when you said that, I was like, wait, okay.
Like chicken farms, like they.
Oh no, yeah, that's right. Continue. Sorry, my bad.
Well, I guess it depends on what kind of chickens. Some of them are just for the eggs, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's real. That's real life.
Tastes very fresh and yummy. Shout out.
So anyway, yeah, he's really cool. So they have like their website and they have a bunch of merchandise, and a lot of their merchandise has like biblical references. So they have these pretty ones. I don't know if this. Oh, it does. It has like you can't really see it that well. I have another one in blue, and it's got I think his like life verse is like Galatians 4 something. And then I even got wrist straps that say pray on them. So I just thought that was really cool. I was like, okay, pop off Rich. So I love that. My other little high tide, I thought I had 3, but now I'm struggling to remember the third one. But the second one is that I got a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, yes.
It was an impulse ADHD buy.
As one does.
I was just like, I have to have it. And like Vlad and I went splitsies on it. So like it's like ours. But like I told him that like you're not allowed to buy me anything for Christmas. Like this was my Christmas gift.
Right.
And I was like, all I want for actual Christmas is just like time with you and like do tradition stuff. Like I want to bake cookies with you and like watch movies and stuff. Like and he was like, no, I'm still gonna buy you something. And I was like, okay, well that's your choice. I'm telling you that.
Okay, well I guess I can't say much on that.
Like I'm telling you that to me like this like checks it off. Like you're good. Like the responsibility of needing to get me something is gone. That's you choose to do something, like that's on you. But anyway, I'm really excited to have a Switch. I got the one that came with Mario Kart, so I have Mario Kart, but I also got Super Mario Brothers and Animal Crossing.
Nice. I've heard a lot about Animal Crossing.
It's so fun.
Is it?
Yeah, it's fun.
Isn't it like a little town? Like
it's just like you build your world.
That's fun.
Like you build your world, and it's kind of, I've always liked those games on my phone. Yeah. But like the graphics on this are insane. Like the amount of like detail that is in it is insane.
Right.
I mean, it's only been like a day since I've gotten it, so I'm still very early into it. But like I've seen other people like make their little worlds and like you can like really customize stuff. I don't know how.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I'm still very early stages, but it's really fun and it's really cute. It's like it's just very relaxing. Like when I'm playing Super Mario Bros. Mario Kart, I'm stressed.
You're like,
and I'm like, I'm
you
trying to
gotta
win.
like lock in.
Yeah, but
like
like
I even saw like on your Be Real, you were able to like watch TV and
yeah.
Yeah.
Like animal. Oh my gosh, you like keep up with it.
No, I literally study everything. I'm like, what is she watching? What is she doing? Let me zoom in.
That's so funny. No, I'll be the same way with your Be Reals. I'm like, oh, she's sitting. I think isn't there like a green wall?
That's my living room.
I always think of you with the green wall.
That's
I think of
so
you in the
funny.
color green in general.
Oh,
Like,
thanks.
you know how everyone has like when
Like
I
a
think of
color
that person, they have a
associated.
color.
Yeah.
Yes, you're green,
Oh.
like a forest green.
Oh my god.
Like or like an army green. Like it depends.
Stop, I love.
Like green in general. But I think of that green wall, and then like you're normally like eating, and there's something on the TV, and I love it.
my
I'm like, what is she
eating.
watching? What is she eating?
That's so funny. It's usually probably like New Girl or Friends. That's the only thing on my TV.
So yeah, but like Animal Crossing is like so far, it's just like relaxing. Like you're just like running around and like you build your little world and you talk to your friends and
that's cute.
I go and like catch my little fish and I'll have to show you after.
No, honestly.
So fun. So yeah, I have a
Hello.
Switch now. I'm a Switch girly. Like I have the one where it's like, you know, the TV
Is it
console.
where you have like the two controllers on the side, right? And that's how you
Yeah. So yeah, that's really fun and exciting. And then there was something else, and honestly, oh my gosh, one of my friends came with me to CrossFit. So technically, Buddy Day is actually this Friday. Wasn't last Friday, but she could only come this past Friday, and so I got her to come with me anyway. And it was her first time, and she crushed it. Like she did amazing.
Nice.
Like did it literally so good. And I was like, okay, like you're literally like doing really well. Like that's kind of nuts. I was awful my first CrossFit class, and she texted me today. She was like, or yesterday I had texted her and I was like, hey, like how are you feeling? Like you don't have any pain or anything? She was like, no, like I'm a little sore, but like nothing too crazy. She texted me today. She was like, yeah, everything hurts. Like
it just hits you like a truck, yeah.
But she did so good, and I was like, yeah, second day soreness hits way harder than
so
like
funny,
the next
yeah.
day. I don't know why or what it is, but it does. But yeah, that was so fun because I always love sharing my passion
your love,
with other people. I'm trying to get Rob to come out this Friday if you want to come out. I coach in the evenings, but I'm working out at 3:30 if you want to come before Casting Grace.
I like it. It depends if I'm working or not, but let me check. We'll have to
check your
update you guys. Yeah.
Text me.
Be like, hey girl.
Hey.
Because I haven't done it in so long.
I know.
It literally feels like a million years. But luckily, the last time was when you coached. That was really fun.
Yeah, I think
that was a little bit ago.
I think Rob is gonna try to come to one of the classes that
as
I'm
he should.
actually
I feel like
coaching.
every single month he's like, oh, I'm gonna go, and then he never does.
He's come once.
Has he?
He has
Oh
come
yes,
once.
I remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
yeah.
I was literally. Well, no, he went to like the class after.
Yeah, you guys
us.
came to different classes.
Yes, but I remember like seeing.
But
him
he has
passing.
come once before,
Okay.
and he
I'm
keeps
about to
talking
say.
about joining the gym.
Oh yes,
And
maybe
I
that's something
do.
else,
I
yeah.
really do think that he will. I'm gonna keep annoying him about it. Like I tell him, I'm like, listen, I'm apologizing now, but I'm not apologizing every time I see you.
I will make sure
I'm gonna
you're
ask
thinking,
you,
like, yeah.
Like
pondering.
where you at? And he's like, no, I appreciate. I need people to push me in my
He's
life.
so
Yeah, I love Rob. So I was like, okay.
What a perfect
Awesome.
episode for that too. Literally,
gosh,
look how that aligned. But before we get into all that, we're getting ahead of ourselves. No.
Oh,
Hannah, our low,
low
tides.
tides.
She doesn't even want to get low, guys. She's like, let's move on, Hannah. No, our low tides.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so funny. Wait. No, you literally just reminded me of what I wanted in my low tide. Oh, yes, I remember my low tide. Hannah literally decides my low tides for me. It's my favorite thing in the world.
She was like, I don't know what it is. And I'm like, you literally just told me about something that is definitely
it's so
low
funny,
tide.
yeah, because like honestly, because when obviously I come into Hannah's house, we're like catching up, whatever. I'll just say things, and then I forget it like 5 seconds later, and then I'm like,
That's real though.
literally nothing is going on in my life. She's like, you literally just told me. Okay, anyways, my low tide, which kind of was last episode. I like just connecting everything, but my low tide is I was able to vote, which is not a low tide. Loved doing it. It was my first time voting. It was really fun. I got to like, even when I walked in and they were like giving me the ballot and stuff, like, are you a first time voter? And I said yes. Then everyone like clapped for me, and it was like just so like, oh, I felt like I was on top of the world, a celebrity up in there. So that was really cute, really fun. But to get to that point,
Yeah.
I did have to wait in the longest, hottest line in the entire world. I don't know
Definitely.
why. I mean, because I have been to vote before, but it's just like with my family. And I would just go and, like, obviously I would get my, like, future voter stickers, like, this whole thing. But I don't remember it being that horrible. I don't know if I went just, like, on the worst possible day. I mean, it was
last time I voted, I waited in line for a very long time.
I was about to say.
I'm about to bring my Switch with me.
As you should, just, like, playing Animal Crossing in line. No, because it was actually... I went at the worst time, too, because it was, like, after work. It was probably, like, 6 p.m. or something. Or, like, 5, 6
when
p.m.
When everyone is getting off of work
and wanting to do early voting. So that was really smart on my behalf. But then...
election day is going to be just as crazy, so, I mean, you got it out of the way.
Yeah, but it was so hot. That was my main problem. Yeah. You were just, like, sweaty, and, like, the line's, like, not moving, and I'm like, is this even worth it at this point? It is, but is it, you know?
Yeah, so my mom told me that she went to go try to early vote, and the line was so long that she was like, I'm not doing it. Yeah. And then I was originally thinking I would do it today, and then... one of my low tides is that I spent all my time on my Switch. So I didn't. So now I'm going to have to go on Tuesday, which is fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to go, like, as the moment that they open. Like, I'm going to try to go
smart.
early in the morning. Because I think my precinct is, like, right across the street from my house.
That'd be so nice.
I believe so. I literally, like, when they open, like, 8 a.m., like, I want to get up and I want to be there outside the doors, like, ready to go.
Right, and just be done.
Get it over with. Hoping that that's my right precinct and I don't have to drive across town. Hoping. But
no, that's real. But so it was nice, but then also it was very like tricky because they have this huge line outside, and I was like, oh, you just got to go in the building. You get in the building, there's another line, and then you enter another room, and then there's another line. So every time, like, I was like, oh, I'm almost there. Like, I just got to push through because they don't have like a. I was saying that they should have like one of those, you know, Disney World, like a wait time.
Yeah.
Because like how was I supposed to know? Yeah, because like. I don't know how many rooms I'm supposed to go in and how many lines, and they just, every room I went into, there was more lines, and I was like, this is insane. I felt like I was being punked. But anyways.
I feel like I don't remember seeing that many people do early voting in the past, but maybe the actual lines won't be as long, or I'm just hoping that maybe more people in general are voting this time, and that's good. I want more people to go out there and use their voice.
Heard, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so not really that low, but it was just a little inconvenience in my life, but.
For sure.
Whatever. Not too shabby.
My low tide is that I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan.
You're so...
I don't know when this is dropping on me a little bit. I don't know what's happened in, you know, the last 2 weeks when this is going to be in the future 2 weeks of what's going to happen by the time this is going. But it doesn't matter. We still suck. Oh. We're literally awful. I'm literally so over this franchise. Love my boys, forever a boys fan. I don't jump ship. I'm loyal to my core. Jerry, if you're listening. This message, everybody else, skip this. Press that fast forward button
10 seconds
for like 10, 15, 30 seconds. This message is only for Jerry Jones and Jerry Jones alone. Step down. Have you ever heard of the word retirement? Enjoy your time with your family. Please stop. You're not a good general manager. We suck. We have been awful for a very long time. Please do us all a favor and stop making decisions. Thank you. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. That was, you guys didn't hear that. That was just my little message for Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's bad, and the problem and the most frustrating part of being a Cowboys fan is that in the years past, we continue to, think that it's going to be our year, and we look really good on paper. Like, we have these amazing, this amazing team, but we can never actually execute. Mm-hmm. And we continue to make it to the first round of the playoffs, and then that's it. We make it to the first round, and then we're done.
Right.
And we continue for whatever reason to think oh, that's good enough, but we're never making it past that point. We're not consistent. Dak, love him as a person, but he does not deserve the amount. He is the highest paid quarterback. He does not earn that. Not at all. Today, the reason why it's my low tide and hasn't been my low tide in the past is because today Dak also got hurt, and then CD got hurt. And I don't think CD's is going to be a season-long injury. If it is, we're done. He's one of the only saving, and you've seen his frustration if you've been keeping up with Dak and with the team in general. But he just kept, he's the only one that's working.
Right.
So he's tired. He kept landing on the same right shoulder, and it was just it looked aggravated. I hope that he's okay. We haven't gotten any updates because the game just ended, but we have a lot of injuries. Dak is not consistent, and we've continued. I think we've lost like now 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and I'm over it. And Dak is my quarterback on fantasy, and so even though he does terrible for us, like he has done like fairly well for me fantasy wise, and then he got out third quarter of the game, so I didn't get any more fantasy points, and now I'm probably going to lose against like the last seed person in our fantasy draft whatever thing. So I'm just
take out the big dogs at least. Yeah. I'm sad. I'm tired. If you are a Cowboys fan and you're listening, like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I became a fan when I was a young kid, obviously, and that was right after like our glory days had ended. I never got to experience those glory days of the 90s. And now it's just been the same crap every year, man. And I'm ready for a change. But this is definitely one of the worst one. Like, I'm like, oh, and then Ezekiel Elliott isn't even playing. He's not even in the game because of behavior reasons. Because he's not injured. He literally was like not showing up to practice. He was showing up late every single. He doesn't care. And I'm like, why do we even, like, we're old. Reasons at your grown age is crazy.
Like, you're old. Like, literally, like, why do we have him? Drop him. He is not in his rookie year anymore. Like, maybe Zeke, like, I don't know, like 8 years ago or something like that, but not anymore. Like, I'm so done. I'm like, behavior reasons, bro. You see the state of our team, and you're not playing. Not that like, makes that much of a difference, but you can't even be here because you're not even showing up. Listen. He needs to listen to this podcast episode with what we're going to talk about. No, Jerry needs to retire. Jerry doesn't need advice. Okay, or he does need advice, but he doesn't need advice on like how to continue doing his job. He needs to stop doing his job. But Jerry already knows that because he listened. No one else does because like everyone skipped that part.
Yeah.
Because that was only for Jerry. They don't even know what we're talking about.
Sorry guys. I don't mean to talk about something unknown. A little inside.
Anyway, that's my ramble. I'm sure anyone who's not a Dallas fan is probably laughing at me right now, as the rest of the NFL is, because we are a laughing stock, and I'm laughing at, well, I'm not laughing, I'm crying right along with you, because everything you say is fair. Like, we're awful.
So funny.
Like, it's bad. But I know that. And I'm just going to say what Eagles fans say every year, that they suck. It's just a rebuilding year. That's what Eagles fans say.
A rebuilding year. It's just,
But they've also, won a Super Bowl in the last 10 years, so I guess I can't say anything.
Go up. No.
Yeah, well, you know what the best here? Let me quote Buster Moon.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what the best part about hitting rock bottom? There's only one way to go. You gotta go up. That's where the Cowboys are right now. We're doing this on purpose. We're doing this on purpose.
We're doing it on purpose.
It's all strategy. This year's a wash.
Yeah, tanking with purpose.
Yeah. Rebuilding.
I love it.
Oh, we also need to fire Mike McCarthy. Other than that, continue with your mana.
That's so funny.
You should do it. Yeah.
Just honestly, Dallas Cowboys, just franchise, the entire franchise.
Clean
have a
slate.
listening party though to this little thing. Just get a little advice, and then
we just need a clean slate.
Just a little refresh. All right. Speaking of refresh, I think this episode is going to be a nice refresh. Because obviously this is kind of stuff that you've heard before, maybe, or just not even necessarily heard before, but something you know, especially when it comes to like motivation and like getting things started. Like, you want to be productive, you want to do the things. I know I struggle with that because like I feel like I almost know things, and like if someone gives me advice, I'll be like, I know, like I just like don't want to do it. But this is just gonna be like that little nudge to like,
it's that push,
exactly, to like almost take what you know and take what we're saying and like apply it, for greater good. Anyways, so with that being said, with a little refresher, talking about the mana, I think when we talk about just like goals and just working towards something in general, inside of like, I guess like the Christian community, I feel like it can be very misconstrued, where some people are just like, oh, if I am working towards a goal, like, oh, well, maybe God has given me this calling, but since that's happened, like, I'm just gonna, like, let it happen, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, we're like, oh, I feel that I am called to do this thing, so now I'm just gonna wait for the opportunity to come to me instead of doing anything about it.
Which we want to also say, like, God can do whatever he wants.
He can.
He can
Absolutely.
easily just give you any opportunity, drop things in the
sky,
But that should not
be our mindset.
Exactly. Yeah. Because, again, I think God genuinely enjoys
hard work.
We work with him.
Absolutely.
To put his, blessings into fruition. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to read, it's a Psalm 128, verse 2, because I love it. It just says, like, you will eat the fruit of your labor.
You will eat the fruit.
Yes.
Of the work you put in.
Love referring to, like, just fruit. Like,
yes.
It's nothing, like, never, unless I had the Bible, like, it's never something I would really apply to life. Like, even when it talks about, like, genuinely, like, thinking of ourselves, like, our lives, like, as, like, a plant, like a tree, you know? Like, that fruit is, like, that goodness, you know?
Yes.
That's what you want. Like, that's
the
also, fruit that comes out of your life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I feel like I just love the concept of that.
But can we also talk about, like, another big theme in the Bible when it comes to this stuff is harvest, farming,
exactly. Yeah.
Right? And if we're talking about one specific crop, we're talking about fruit, it's only in season for one part of the year. Think about all of the rest of the year that is doing nothing but cultivating and working and planting and watering.
Doing that labor
to hope for, like, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months out of the year to hopefully bear and have that fruit. So it's not something where you're going to have fruit on your tree all year round.
Right.
You know, because that's majority of the time that's not how it works.
Right.
You know, you get it for a season, but in order to have that fruit, there is work and effort that needs to be put in.
Yeah, like, even if you, like, look at the verse, so the second half of the verse is blessing and prosperity will be yours. It doesn't say, like, oh, blessing and prosperity will be yours, like, once you, or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think it's intentional the way it says, like, you'll eat the fruit of your labor, blessing and prosperity will be yours. It's not saying, like, oh, you got blessing, like, okay, labor with it, you know? It's saying, like, you have to labor for that blessing. You have to labor for the prosperity. You have to kind of actually be willing to work and do everything you can to, not because you need to, but just because you want to work with God.
As if we're doing
and working
it for
in
the
your
Lord.
life. Exactly. Like that one verse where it's like, do everything as if you're working unto the Lord, not for, like, human hands, because that will always fail you, you know, and that's not something that should and isn't very encouraging to us. Yeah. But knowing that God genuinely wants to do a partnership with you, that's the most motivating thing in the world.
And it's also the same, like the other verse where it's saying that we reap what we sow. So what are we sowing? What are we planting? What are we cultivating? And then when it comes time for the harvest, that fruit that is being bore is a direct product of the seeds that you planted. Right. So if you are, I mean, God says, you know, ask and you shall receive. And I really do believe that, like, we work hard towards something. Pastor Tim has been talking about, like, the more that you seek God, the more that you will find him, the favor that you will grow, and your blessings will come forward from it. And it's not just something where you lay back and be lazy and just expect things to come to you. Not that can't happen, but we should not be in the attitude of, okay, like, well, you know, God is all powerful and he's gonna, like, he says he's gonna bless me, so I'm just gonna sit on my couch and wait for the blessings to come. Trying to take advantage, I guess I would say, rather than having the mindset of, okay, I have working hands, I have working feet, I have, you know, whatever abilities that you have that God has given you. He's given you them for a reason. So go out and work and do it as if you're doing it for the Lord, and blessings will come from that. Not all the time. There's going to be a lot of times where it just feels like labor, and you're not seeing that product of your hard work yet. And that is something that applies to so many things in life, where you have to be really, really patient. But patience is also a fruit of the Spirit. So I'm telling you, it all connects. Man.
God knew what he was doing. Bear that life into the word. But yeah, and I think sometimes it helps me to think about it also in, like, just practical ways. Like, say, like, you have this, like, person that's, like, really successful, right? And he, like, hires you or something. I feel like I'm not just gonna be like, oh, cool, I got the job, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you just, like, in response, like, I want to do the best I can to, like, just work, you know? And to just be the best, just do the best things that I can, you know, not necessarily because I need to make him proud, but just because like it is such an honor to work with the Lord. Absolutely. It's such an honor to see those blessings in your life and to have that be a testimony to others, you know, like I want my life to be a testament to others, that when God, you know, breathes into you, you can work, but not in a way that like exhausts you.
We don't
but
work in vain.
Exactly. In a way that genuinely brings you such fruit. Yeah. You know, like we said. Like, and
even if we don't feel like we're seeing a harvest, we are storing up blessings in heaven. Like none of the work that we do here for the Lord is ever in vain. Right. And there are also times we can talk about, you know, the part of it too, where there are some times where you don't always get to see your fruit. Like sometimes you are just planting the seeds, and you are planting seeds for other people to bear the fruit of what you're planting.
I was gonna say, and I think we have to learn to be okay with that. Yeah. Because we so often, especially when we are working, we can say like, oh, we're waiting on like the result. We have that patience. But like, what if you never see the result? Right. Like, is that the only
reason why you're doing it?
Exactly. Right. Is it only because you want to receive that blessing, or is it because you genuinely just want to work into the Lord because that's what we're called to do, and the blessing is just an overflow. Yeah, like you already have all you need with that. Yeah, it's just an overflow.
And like we don't do it for any recognition. We don't do it for the fruit. That's literally a blessing that comes from it, but we do it because we're called to do it. Right. We're, you know, God is expecting of us to work hard, and again, sometimes you will see the fruit and it's a blessing to you, and sometimes you're working so that other people can have that fruit.
Exactly.
And I mean, if you think about it, like the fruit of the Spirit all benefit other people more when we have that. That's, you know, so good. Like other people are going to benefit more if I'm being kind. Right. Like me being kind, I mean, yes, there is such a thing as being kind unto yourself, but like me being kind is going to affect other people more. Me being patient is going to affect the people around me more. Right. Me being gentle.
That's the heart of Jesus.
Yes, is all about how it can affect others. And sometimes that fruit is not for you. Sometimes it's literally about benefiting other people. And you do all that labor, but it's not in vain, and it's not about you.
Exactly. And it seems disappointing at the moment, but like also again, think about that honor of being able to work as a vessel for those fruits to affect
heaven minded, mindset.
Like think about how much Jesus served other people, how much like he wants to serve other people through you. Like I think if we just kind of shift our mindset, obviously we're talking about like the manna concept with like spirituality, like switching your mindset onto like what a blessing it is just to serve the Lord and get nothing from it. Like that itself is such an honor.
Look at Jesus. He died on the cross for this fruit, for us to know him, for us to talk about him thousands of years later, to spread his word, to spread his name to other people. He was not, because he is omnipresent and, you know, but he was not on the earth to see like all of these blessings or all of these people. I shouldn't say blessings, but we are the fruit of his sacrifice thousands of years later. Right. You know what I mean? And in that moment, he was facing death for that, but he knew his purpose. Right. He looking at the bigger picture, being kingdom mindset of what is to come after this, and that it's not just to benefit me. I mean, he did the most selfless thing that anybody ever could. So
I mean, Miss Janet talked about it in church this morning with like, we were the joy set before him as he endured the cross. Yeah. Like Jesus found joy in knowing that there was more to and that his death would give us life. Yeah. You know? So so good.
That was a good manna.
So good.
I feel like that was one of the better mannas that we've had lately.
So good.
But yeah, we were discussing, you know, what we wanted to talk about today, and my thought process and idea was, okay, it's now it's November 11th, so I would say, you know, early to mid-November. Yeah. We have...
It's like almost the home stretch.
It is. No, that's, it is the home stretch of 2024. Yeah. I know, let me just speak for myself, but like, I've been in the mindset of like, man, I'm ready for this year to be over. And in some ways, like, it's totally justified. But I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, like, with so many people and what goals that we have, and knowing that, okay, like, you still have 2 months of 2024, don't write off that time. Yeah. You know, like, this is still the time it's the final push, it's the final stretch. And, like, we all know how I feel about New Year's, so it's not like anything major drastically happens, but I do think that there is mindset shift when it's like, oh, it's January. Like sometimes I think it feels like a reset in a way. And we look at everything that we have to, coming in that next year. So I feel like a lot of people have these goals, and now is the time where they kind of get put on pause. They get dropped off. Yeah. Because we're tired. Yeah. This year has exhausted us. Yeah. We're tired. And I feel like election years too are just another type of exhausting because you're bombarded with it on social media. Yeah. There's tension. Like everyone's kind of holding their breath. Obviously now it's over, so you're either easy breathing or maybe now you're more nervous for this next year. I don't know how and what you're feeling. And just the fact
that I feel like election years, they just impact so much, because like everything around us, so much more tense and heightened.
And so, and I get all of that, and there is, we've talked about the power of rest. Hello. But also
go stream, guys.
Shameless plug. But there's also something to say with like when like we can see the finish line, that's not the time to slow down and to stop. Like that's the time where it's like, okay, like let's empty the tank. Yeah. Let's give it all we got. If you have goals, like let's achieve them. And so that was like kind of one part of it, but I also wanted to touch on the subject in general of having goals, the importance of having goals, how to properly write out those goals, like, and the different types that you can have, and then how to actually put it into action to achieve them. Because I hear, at least around me, a lot where people talk a lot about things that they want to do and they have all of these aspirations, right? But it's just talk, and like, when you ask them, oh, like, what are you doing about it? Just it's just something in the future I want to do. Like, yeah,
fingers crossed.
And I've been there where
no, same.
I literally tell people, oh, like this is something I'm really interested in, and they're like, well, then go for it. And I'm grateful to have people around me that push me, and so this is me being that for you.
Yeah, just like a little, again, like we were saying,
a little push,
that reminder, like, hey.
Yeah, and so but there are real practical steps and things that you can do to make your goals more achievable. Yeah. And I wanted to talk about that at this point of the year because this is when a lot of people stop trying to achieve them. And I don't want people to do that. I want you to feel motivated by this episode to write down what your goals are and to make a plan on how to go about attacking them and achieving them. And starting off 2025, not necessarily on a fresh start, starting from zero, but you've got a head start.
Exactly.
You feel like you have a head start.
Like it does kind of connect to the reasons why you've shared your dislike of like New Year's resolutions in the past, because if you think about it, everyone like could easily just say like, oh, I'm gonna wait. You know what I'm saying? Like I do that all the time. Like especially if I'm like, it's like just like little things. Like if it's like in the week, it'd be like, oh, okay, this day's almost over. Let me just start on it tomorrow. Yeah, it's just like the procrastination idea. Like it's easy to procrastinate, especially when a big like mark is coming up. Like, oh, it's gonna be a whole new year.
Days
2025 is my year.
Where I sleep in an extra hour.
And I'm like, day.
It's not gonna happen today. It's like 10 a.m.
I'll get them. I'll get them tomorrow.
I have the whole day.
No, that's real. But like, that's kind of what you can think about. Like in the year, like right now, you may have goals. And you might like have started to like plan. You're like, I'm almost there. Let me just enjoy it.
Like I definitely still want to do them, but like,
let me just enjoy the past.
Just not right now.
I think that's important too, because like I think sometimes we associate like our goals, especially if they're not like necessarily fun. Like we don't find joy in that. I think I've struggled with that in the past. Like you almost like associate things that like better yourself as being like a bad, like I don't want a chore, exactly, and then something being like
I see.
Like all of like the things that don't necessarily benefit you as much, being like that's what I want to do, like that's like my favorite thing.
But then that opens up another conversation as the type of goals that you have. Is it something that lights you up?
Exactly.
You should, like, don't get me wrong, there are times where there are tasks that you need to do that are not always super
where you need
fun.
That like discipline,
like that's where discipline comes in. But there's also, and this conversation can apply to both, where then there's the things that are not necessary but things that light you up that you want to do. And maybe some of the things that you want to do are, in my opinion, should be viewed as necessary, like for your health, if it is like getting into exercise or eating healthier, things like that. Do you have to do them? No. I think you should. Yeah. But this can apply to any kind of goal. Don't let me just make it about fitness. That's just the easiest example, for me to spell it out. But, this can be about wanting a different kind of career for your life, wanting a new job.
Whether it's like schools,
literally anything. If you're wanting to become a dancer or a singer or learn how to play a new instrument, if you're wanting to maybe apply to go back to school or to go to school in general.
And I think some of those though, because again, I'm just talking out of like experience, like the stuff that almost seems more enjoyable though, it might seem more impractical, when you are just going through our life, something that does spark you up.
Write it
exactly
down.
Because you're just like, that's impossible. I think we write off things very, very quickly. Not even like thinking like, oh yeah, we might want to write off becoming the #1 best-selling artist in the entire world, but like writing off like a joy and a passion for yourself completely, because you just think like, oh, I can't attain what I dreamed about when I was like 3 years old, then it's not for me. But like, how can you actually apply the passion and like little goals? I think so many times, like especially when it comes to New Year's resolution, we just set goals so like this or nothing, this or nothing, this or nothing, and then when we don't live up to that insane expectation, whether it's fitness related, school related, just passion, career related, you just get disappointed. You're like, okay, that never done that again, and then you give up on that passion too, which is so unfortunate, because I think even going back, like God put so many like desires in your heart, and just like give up on things is so unfortunate and disappointing. But when it's almost like, how can I just find joy, like not separating the two is what I'm trying to say. Like in my mind, I'm almost like, okay, that is what like I find joy in, and this is what I need to do. Like how can you almost like remove that line and like mix the two, where it's, how can I find joy in the things that I need to do? How can I benefit from the things I already love doing? And how can it just be like a little smaller goals on how to just enjoy life? Little by little, not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to be set when I get there. I'm going to be happy when I reach this goal. Because, I mean, did we talk about this in like the comparison issues episode? I don't know, but it's like the whole idea of like, you will never be satisfied, especially when it comes to like even like your looks or fitness or something. Like if your goal is like, oh, I'm not gonna be happy with myself until I lose this much weight,
that's a lie.
It's like a spiraling, and I think again that could go with everything. So when you are just combining the two and just enjoying the journey, that's all so lame. Just enjoy the journey, guys. It's true. But I don't know.
You're talking about some of the things that, like some of the steps that I think are really good and practical. So I think like the first, to start is that figure out what your goals are. And I think that there should be things, some self-improvement things. Like what are areas of life that I need to work on that I could improve? Maybe it's setting a budget, spending money. I know I could probably benefit from that sometimes. Maybe it's a nutrition goal. And then, think about something that you just want to do. That's just fun. Like maybe you want to learn to knit. Go knit, girl.
That's what I'm saying. Like why are we putting labels on like, oh, that's a good goal, that's not a good goal?
No, think of, I want you to first, you have to have something. And if you don't have anything, like, oh, I'm not aspiring to anything, that's when you get stuck in life. I really do feel like there is power in constantly striving for something. Like never be satisfied. Never. And not in the sense of the unhealthy way.
Don't be not content. Just don't be satisfied. There's definitely a difference.
Contentment is different. Contentment is, I am content with where I'm at right now, but I'm still going to work harder. And if I don't get those things, guess what? I'm still content. And if I do get those things,
but you're not satisfied.
I'm
you're not like, okay, I'm good.
Yes, like, my identity and my self-worth is not set in whether or not I achieve this goal.
Right.
Let's just make that clear. But it's just a matter of staying in that mindset of constantly wanting to better ourselves in some way, shape, or form.
I think that's
so it's like you find something that excites you. Maybe it's wanting to learn how to play a new video game. It can be so small.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe
I think
it's wanting to read
personally,
more.
I'm like, oh, that's not really good enough. Like,
no,
if I want to better myself, like I gotta go crazy. But like,
or like wanting to go to bed earlier, wanting to drink more water, wanting to wake up earlier, like whatever. It might be, and find some type of hobby or passion, something that excites you, that it gets you excited to want to get up in the morning to try to work on that. Right?
That's the best feeling ever, when you actually have something to look forward to.
Yes.
And it's like almost like a personal goal, like it doesn't affect like, oh, I can't wait to like prove myself wrong.
So like have things that like you need to have that are going to require discipline that might not be quote unquote fun, and that can be different depending on every person. But then have some things that are just for you that are not necessary, but you want them. Write them down. And, I think it's so important to take some time to self-reflect on, like, what am I passionate about in life? What do I want to do? Small, big, whatever it is. Don't think about the size or the likelihood of that dream or goal coming true. Like, just write them down. Write them down. And I think where a lot of people, like how you were saying, get messed up is you think about you're only thinking about the end goal. Exactly. So I'm just gonna I'm sorry, I'm gonna use fitness as an example. It's the best way for my brain to understand it, and it's a very easy example. Okay, so let's talk about the goal of wanting to be able to do a pull-up. Okay, that was my goal for quite a few years. Okay, to be able to do a strict pull-up. As a 5'10" female with very long arms, it's a tough thing to do, right? And it was just something that I always really wanted to do, and I was always very discouraged because I could never do one. And then I had been working out for like 3 years, and I still couldn't do one. And I'm like, I've gained so much strength. Why can't I do this dang movement?
Right.
And what would happen is I then started to avoid it because it made me upset.
It was
disappointing, and I would avoid it. And then guess what? I still wanted to be able to do one, but then I'm not working on it.
Towards it. Yeah.
Okay, so I literally I can go back in my old stories on Instagram and I can look at my archive. I would write what my goals are for the year. And I would always make a preface to note that I'm okay if they don't happen within the year time frame. These are just, in my mindset, things that I want to work on. Yeah, they're just goals. So one of them had always been to get a strict pull-up. Now, if I'm only thinking about the end game, if I'm only thinking about, okay, ultimately I want to be able to do a strict pull-up, I'm probably just going to go to the gym every day and hang from a pull-up bar and keep trying to do a pull-up, and then it's never going to happen, and then you get discouraged and then you quit.
Exactly.
So the problem is that people don't chunk up their goal and break it down into small daily things that they can do that actually will help them work towards it.
So it's super intimidating.
Yes, and they try it. It's like looking at, like, you're trying to take steps that are 10 feet tall. And you're looking up at the step and you're like, how am I supposed to get up there? Like, that's way too high. Instead of taking the 10-inch step. And it's like, okay, I'm going to get there a lot slower, but you're consistently moving up. And maybe every day, that 10 inches, you don't feel like you're moving forward. You don't feel like you're going up. You don't feel like you're moving in the right direction. But after a month,
you're going to look down at how far you've grown,
all those steps that you've taken, right? So... and that, again, this can apply to anything. So instead of just swinging around on a pull-up bar and trying to pull myself up and struggling and not being able to do it, okay, you can start with, like literally just hanging from a pull-up bar. That does, create grip strength, starting there. And from there, then it can go into little scapular pull-ups where you just put your shoulder blades in your back pocket and release back down. And you're just building strength in that first initial part of the pull. It's literally the first part of the pull-up. Right, and then you can start doing like dumbbell rows where you're taking a dumbbell and you're rowing, you're working those muscles of the back without actually doing the pull-up to try to get you to those, right? So sometimes working on your goals can be doing things that that don't even look like what the end goal is.
Right.
But they're working parts of your life to get you there.
Right.
So my whole point is that, like, whatever goal that you have, break it down into something you can actually achieve every day or every week. Because that is what's going to keep the motivation going.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you can
get discouraged.
Imagine like having a checklist and being able to actually check something off instead of having this one box that says get a pull-up. And every day I'm looking at that box and I can't check it off. But you know what I can check off? Hey, I was able to hang from the bar for 30 seconds today. Hey, I was able to do 10 scapular pull-ups. Hey, I was able to do 25-pound, dumbbells for dumbbell rows, and then the next day I can increase that weight a little bit. Hey, I was able to do a strict pull-up with a thick band, and then hey, I was able to do 2 pull-ups with that band, and it's chunking it up, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I am slowly moving towards this goal, and then hey, doing pull-up negatives, and building up until the point where all of a sudden, when I go to hang on that pull-up bar and I try to pull myself up, now I'm pulling myself up halfway. And I'm like, oh.
Wait a second, I couldn't do that before.
I couldn't do that before. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it before. And it's because you're actually chunking it up into realistic things that you can check off. Because I love checklists. I rely on checklists.
Yeah.
And there is no better feeling than checking something off that box.
Yeah.
And you have
especially
to be
if it's
able,
something that you've been like that have that passion for.
yeah. But it needs to be something where you can actually realistically check it off on a daily or weekly basis. And so stop only looking at the end goal.
Right.
Like, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But, like, how are you actually going to achieve that right now?
Yeah.
I also think that, like, you know, something that people need to do more is, you know, have you ever heard of the SMART goals?
Yes.
Yeah. There's
where it's like the breaking it up.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember all of the, what the acronym stands for. Maybe you can look it up. I know one of them is time. And being able to set, like, because again, sometimes when people say these goals, it's a very general statement and it's very lofty.
Yeah, so the first one is specifics.
Yes, okay, so it needs to be a specific goal. So instead of saying, oh, well, you know, I just want to get stronger, what does that mean? Oh, okay, I want to be able to back squat 100 pounds. That's specific. Okay, so let's talk about that. That'll be our example for talking about the SMART goals. So the general goal would be, I want to be stronger. To make it specific, I want to be able to back squat 100 pounds. What's the M stand for?
Measurable.
Measurable. Can you measure that? Yes, because I can only do a body weight squat, like no weight on the bar. And then the next week I can squat with a 35-pound bar. And then the next week I can squat 55 pounds. You can physically see it and it's measurable.
Right. A is achievable.
Is it achievable? Which that... I think there's a time and place for some goals where, like, is it realistically achievable? And then I also think there are times where it's like dream big, because I think everything, not everything, but there's so many things that are achievable if you genuinely put the work in. That's why I like,
even in like the little like caption underneath, it says, don't set yourself a goal that's too easy or too difficult to complete.
Right.
Like, make it something where it's rewarding and something you can actually,
like, I'm not going to say become the strongest person in the world.
Yeah, like, oh, okay.
But I want to become strong, right? Yeah. So, like, I said, something that is achievable and something that, like, challenges you. We should be challenged and pushed. That's what I'm
saying. I like that. It's not too easy. R is relevant.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, is it something that even applies to your life or something?
Is it something that you want to do?
Is it worth what you're, putting into it?
Yeah.
And then T is time. Time-bound.
Time. So... I want to be able to squat 100 pounds. Okay, well, first I have to look at where I'm at. So if I'm starting off where I can literally only do a body weight squat.
Right.
Okay, I need to give myself, I would say realistically, like at least a year or two to be able to get to a squat 100 pounds. If you're working on it consistently, it could probably happen with, like, it could happen within a year. Because especially in the beginning, like, if you're training consistently, like, you gain strength so quick. But yeah, like, put a time on yourself. And again, kind of like how I would do when I would, make these little posts, is put a time limit on it, because that can keep you, like, motivated to continue working on it, so you don't get lazy and just drop it off. Because if there's no due date,
right,
I'm just going to keep procrastinating. I'm just going to keep putting it off.
Of course.
And at the same time, if by the end of the year, if I'm still only squatting 90 pounds and not 100, I'm not going to give up on that goal and get mad at myself and quit.
Right.
Because I didn't reach it within 365 days.
Right.
No, like, give yourself another 6 months. Like, change the time.
But still have a time.
But still have a time to keep you pushing and keep you going.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes, and like the SMART goals was something that I learned in high school. But I think we forget about it.
Right, because it was for only academic purposes.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like, when, again, I think it's just a habit that we do where we talk about these things that we would want to achieve or do one day, but we, for whatever reason, we talk ourselves out of it actually being a possibility.
Right.
And then you never write it down, and you never actually put any kind of measurements or boundaries around it to make it a possibility.
Yeah.
And I also think that sometimes, and I think this goes with writing your goals, when it comes to chunking it up and making that checklist, is, again, don't go for 10-foot steps, go for the 10-inch steps.
Right.
So even if it was something like, you want to drink 100 ounces of water a day and you're starting at 20 ounces a day. Okay, you could just jump to making yourself drink 100 ounces of water a day. You might get, some people might just be able to stick with that. Other people might do that for like a week and then they're like, oh, I'm tired of it. And you drop right off.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with weight loss, where people say, okay, I want to lose 15 pounds. So then what do? They drop their calories super, super low, where you feel miserable. And like, you stick with it for 1 or 2 weeks. I'm sure if you're eating actually low enough, you are losing weight, but you feel like garbage and you can't sustain it. And then you end up going right back to where you were if not binging, and then putting on that weight and probably more some back on, instead of like, okay, I want to lose 15 pounds. Let's make a realistic goal for that. Let's say 15 pounds in 4 months to to be able to actually keep that weight off and to make it sustainable. And instead of making yourself go into a 1,000 calorie deficit, let's make it a 300 calorie deficit. And you're not going to be that hungry at the end of, like, you should feel full and satiated and fine, but you're eating slightly less and that weight is coming off slowly, but the scale is over time going down. And when that 4 months comes around, you're like, oh, like, I still feel good. This weight is going to stay off because I did something that is sustainable for my lifestyle and not going to try to make that 10-foot step jump. Because majority of the time, okay, like, let's say you make that first 10 feet up there. Are you going to be able to jump up there again for another one?
Exactly.
Like, you get tired, you get burned out. But every day you can step up another 10 inches. You can take another step, like, of a normal,
the smaller goal.
Like, you can keep going with that. It's sustainable. It takes longer, but it'll get you there and it'll keep you there.
I love that. I wanted to talk too about, like, the whole idea, like we were talking about, like, getting discouraged, because I think that can happen also a lot of times. Let's say, like, you are getting up all those steps, like, you're up there, but you're constantly just looking up. You're just constantly, so it seems never ending. You're like, okay, like, if you're constantly just going through life, like, oh my gosh, this is never ending. Like, I'm in a pit and, like, I can't dig my way out, you know? Because as amazing as it is, and, like, we were talking about how important it is to always strive. Not necessarily strive because, like, you need to earn, but strive just because
that's a
you want to.
That's a lack of contentment and a lack of gratitude of where you've been.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about, is because, like, you've probably come so far, you know? Like, if you really think about it, I think sometimes we get so caught up in, like, oh, I want to do this, or, oh, I still have this to do. Like, what have you done?
What have you done?
Because I can tell you right now, there's probably so much that we forget about. And I think God, like, even, like, reminds us, like, he was constantly, like, look at all I've done, you know? Like, for you, or just in general. Like, that's so important when it comes to not getting burnt out. Because you're like, I'm making progress. Like, this isn't for nothing. This isn't just so that I can constantly keep looking up and see all these steps and just, like, can barely catch my breath. Like, no, like, look how far you came. Like, almost, like, stop for a second. And enjoy that, because that's going to give you so much motivation too, that is actually attainable, instead of being like, okay, I got to keep going. Like, oh wait, if I attained that, I can attain this. Like, I just, obviously, it's super, like, there's a balance. Like, it's unhealthy to, like, constantly just look back and think about all the what ifs, like, what you could have done. But, like, also, I think that there's so much goodness in looking back and being like, wow, I did that. Or, you know, God did that. Like, God moved. Just, again, it's just such an important thing, too, that I think you could apply when it comes to just making goals, especially, again, when it comes to this year-long thing. Like, you're like, okay, that I have to keep going, like, 2025, like, I have all these new resolutions, like, I'm already starting to write them down. Like, okay, what resolutions did you actually accomplish that you made in 2024, you know? Like, you're making progress, you're still moving, you're still working, and we are proud of you, and I think that's so fun.
And I think that's when it comes on the days where there is power in rest and allowing yourself to take a breath and reset. Allow on the days where, like, you take your breath, like, you're getting a reset, look back at where you've came, because I do think that's so powerful. And it's the same, like, I love the connection to our relationship with God, because sometimes I feel like we're like, God, when are you going to do this for me? God, when is this going to come into my life? God, when are you going to bring me up to my next valley, or I'm sorry, my next mountain or my next hill? When are you gonna do this, God? When are you gonna provide this? And God is just like, can you look at everything I've already done? You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, the fact that God still promises us blessings is crazy, because he doesn't owe us anything. He's already done his part.
Honestly, that's what I was, like, trying to say. Like, it's all an overflow at this point. Like, it's a cup that's already full. And you should be good with that. Like, I love a full cup, especially if it's of my little iced strawberry stuff. I love a full cup of that. But I love more too. I love an overflow, but I don't need an overflow. I got it full, you know?
I definitely think that, you know what, that actually, it honestly brings it to such a good point too, because when you're going through this time of writing down these goals or working towards them and striving for these things that you want to accomplish, there are going to be days where you feel discouraged, where you feel run down.
Of course,
even if you are only taking the 10-inch steps, it's hard. It is hard
for sure.
To be a motivated individual, to be a disciplined individual that continues to move forward in this life, because life is really hard.
For sure.
And some days you're going to take 2 steps back.
Yeah.
Some days you're going to take 3 steps forward.
Yeah.
It's not linear per se. It's definitely up and down, but there's still a consistent trend of it moving in the right direction. But like, not every day has to be better than the day before.
Right.
Not every day, I shouldn't even say has to be. Not every day is going to be as good as the day before. And I know for me, I think it's important too to set strategies, if you want, coping skills, things to do to help keep that motivation and or discipline going when you feel really discouraged, when you feel like you want to quit. Because even if you're doing everything right, you've written your goals down, you've put the right measurements and boundaries on them, you know, there are appropriate goals within an appropriate timeline, you're still going to have days where it's really hard and you feel like you can't do it and you feel like you've made no progress.
Yeah.
And, you know, speaking in like my own ways, like there are definitely days with the gym where I'm like, man, like I genuinely, I'm just like, I suck. Like, I'm not a good athlete. I'm like, I look at everyone else around me. I feel like everyone else is doing so much better. She's so much stronger. They're so much more athletic. They're so much more fit than I am. I feel like I haven't made any progress in so long. Like I'm not even that in shape. Like, I need to be better. And like, I can really beat myself up about that. And I will, on those days, I literally will go back in my archive or back. This is why I take videos of me lifting.
I love that.
Because I go back and I see where I came from and where I started. And I'm like, holy moly, like if she could see me now.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I remember like when the idea of becoming a coach first came into my head, and I rid myself off from it because I was like, why me? Why would anybody ever want to listen to me? I'm not good enough. I'm not a good enough athlete for that. Like, that will never be a possibility for me. I shouldn't do that. And now obviously that is something that I'm doing, and younger me didn't even think. I remember very vividly when I watched my first CrossFit class. I didn't even participate. I went with Vlad to the gym and just watched him and everybody else work out. And I remember seeing a girl lifting a heavy barbell over her head. And I remember thinking, I will never be that. I will never be that strong. I will never be that capable. I will never be that confident. I said these things to myself. And now it's like a full circle moment, because I am doing those things now. But had I not put in the hard work and took those little baby itty bitty steps of working with a 15-pound barbell and doing push-ups on my knees and, using 10-pound dumbbells. And every single day, I didn't know what I was necessarily working to. I just knew that I wanted to be better. And how much progress, within 5 years that it takes, where now it's like a 15-pound barbell, 150-pound barbell. Like, I added a 0 on the end of that,
So
and it's like, but even now I can still feel how I did, where I'll never be as strong as her. I'll never be that capable. I'll never be those things. But I also thought that in the past.
Right.
And so I think there does come a point where you have to be able to separate your feelings from reality, and understanding that the negative self-talk or your feelings do not dictate reality. But they can, if you allow it to actually physically prevent you from going after these goals. If you tell yourself, oh, I'm never going to be able to be strong in the gym, and then that prevents you from going to the gym, then you're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
But you have to be able to separate your feelings from reality. And the truth is that if you keep going and you keep showing up, you will get stronger. Right. It's not going to be those 10-foot jumps. You're not going to be able to jump from your chapter 1 to your chapter 20.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, you got to get to chapter 2 first. And it's going to be slow, but it's going to be worth it. So definitely have those kind of, like, if you like to journal, or if it is recording your lifts, or if it is like I think of, if you're an artist and you're wanting to grow in your work, take pictures of your first work, because then you can go back and you can actually, that's the part of it being measurable, is what are you doing to make it measurable, to view the growth and to be able to go back, because the reason why we want it to be measurable is not only so we can actually see that we're growing, but so that you can have those moments of reflection to look back and see how far you've come.
Yeah, I think that's so good.
And that always motivates me and makes me feel ready to go. Right. But yeah, the whole point is just like, it's November. We got 2 months left. This is not the time to stop or slow down.
Yeah, like
write down your goals. Don't wait until January 1st to write down your goals. Yeah. Write them down now. Yeah. And let's work towards them.
Yeah. It's again, November, December. It's gonna pass by so quick.
It's gonna, especially with the holiday season. The best time of the year goes by so fast.
Yeah. So let's just enjoy it, work at it, get the fruit of our labor, man.
I'm telling you, keep working hard. As if
you're doing it for the
Lord.
I'm telling you, Nike said it best.
Just do it. Just do it. Just put one foot in front of the other.
Exactly.
As Anna said in Frozen 2, just do the next right thing.
Just do the next. Oh, I love Anna.
Don't even.
Sorry, stop.
Like, literally, don't look ahead to the future. Like, literally, just put your next foot forward.
Yeah.
Like, focus on what the next right decision is. Like, don't focus on your end-all, be-all gym goals right now. Focus on just getting to the gym tomorrow. Or whatever. Like, making that painting tomorrow. I don't know
I love
anything.
You go from fitness to, like, painting.
I don't know anything else. But you know what I mean? Like, don't focus, okay, you want to save $1,000. Don't focus on the $1,000. Focus on the $1 to save tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Chunk it up, baby. Chunk it up.
Quote that.
I like my peanut butter chunky.
I'm quoting that too. We post. Chunk it up, baby. What does this mean? Tune in. Tune in.
Sneak peek.
Sneak peek.
All right, you guys.
Yeah.
That's what
I feel motivated
today. Motivated and yapped.
Motivated
and yapped out.
Motivation and yapped.
Motivation and yapped.
We yapped. You listened. See you next time.
If you're still here, you're a real one. Jerry, if it's you, get off of here.
Jerry, we already talked to you.
Go to retirement.
Get out of here. Go golfing. It's funny. All right.
All right, you guys. I hope you have a good night.
Talk to you later.
Bye. Write down those goals.